to our second topic. Valve officially tore down the Steam Deck and let us see what was on the inside. They did a 5-minute video, an official video that's out there from Valve. That actually walked through undoing the Steam Deck, but then they said, "Don't do it." Like, please, whatever you do not do what we're about to do here. But I can read the article here from IGN. This is from Taylor Lilas. I am butchering that, but here we are. The roughly 5-minute video is a walkthrough on how to not only open up the Steam Deck, but how to replace the thumbsticks on and SSD included with the handheld. Despite being an official demo, Valve issues a warning at the beginning. It is about a 2-minute long warning of this. That's my thing saying that. That's what they say. But anyway, while they cannot stop you from doing so, it is strongly advised that you not to open up your Steam Deck for any reason. The main reason Valve is strongly advising you to not pry the Steam Deck open is due to the console's battery. Should you puncture the battery while opening it, there's a chance the battery may catch fire, noting that if you damage the battery, the Steam Deck's warranty will not cover anything that you break. So you're doing this at your own risk if you decide to do it. Valve also notes that while the screws holding the Steam Deck can be removed, they have a high probability of being stripped. So they're probably a cheaper metal of how they do the screw, meaning the screws become so damaged that it becomes difficult to remove even with a screwdriver. More importantly, if you remove the screws, Valve warns that opening the case will weaken the Steam Deck's drop resistance with, quote, no way to avoid, end quote, if it was once no way to avoid it once you open up the Steam Deck. So as soon as you open it, you've essentially released this like vacuum seal that that they're somehow describing here. This is me now noting this. And they showed like dropping tests because it's so compact on the inside. So yeah, they dropped like an anvil essentially onto the screen. It was violent.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome.
But it looked like it could take a hit, man. It definitely looked like very well put together. But if you were to undo these screws, it could cause a very bad. In their ways, no way to avoid it. So if you undo this and you put it back together successfully and you drop it, there's a possibility that it is going to break very easily. Okay, so continuing the article, the teardown reveals that the SSD uses an M.2 2230 form factor slot in every configuration of the Steam Deck, including the most affordable 64 gigabyte model, which includes the eMMC storage. The other two models are NVMe SSDs. Valve warns that swapping the SSD inside with another may consume too much energy, make the Steam Deck susceptible to overheating, and may negatively impact other key components such as the wireless module through electromagnetic interference. So the 64 gigabyte model, because it is an eMMC storage, it's not going to do it's not designed to take an NVMe SSD inside it, because those use a different system than the eMMC, the eMMC stuff. So anyway, the video also demonstrates how to remove the Steam Deck's thumbsticks, which is the first thing they talk about, and it's very easy how they do that. With the narrator noting it is, quote, easy to remove, end quote, though replacing the parts will be tricky. Like the other parts inside the Steam Deck, both the SSD and thumbsticks are custom to support the functionality of the Steam Deck. Despite this, at about halfway into the video, Valve says it plans to share more information about replacements, so how to get replacements, that are compatible with the Steam Deck in case if any of this starts to happen. Parts including thumbsticks, SSDs in the coming months. End quote. Or quote in coming months. End quote. So if you are brave enough to open up your Steam Deck and modify it to your liking, you will be happy to know that Valve is providing a reassurance of compatible parts and where to purchase them. The Steam Deck is slated to release sometime in December, but due to high demand, most people may receive one as early as next year. For more information on the Steam Deck, check out the hands-on preview that IGN provided. So there you go. That is it. What do you think about the Steam Deck so far?
I mean, it's cool. I don't. It's not really something that I'm looking to get. I have a Switch, and I have a phone, so I don't really need the Stream Deck or the Steam Deck. It's cool though for people who want like a PC away from home and don't want a laptop.
Yeah. I mean, they did show that it does have the capability of being plugged into a monitor and then you being able to run a PC.
Yeah. You did say something before we started recording. It'll work with Game Pass or
so what was I believe said a while back when the Steam Deck was being announced and talked about was they would allow other OSs to be, or not OSs, but other launchers to be on there. Now, that means, reading in between the lines there, Origin would be included in that. Epic could be included in that. You also got the Xbox app could be included in that. And inside the Xbox app is Game Pass and also cloud streaming. So, because that's the newest update that just came to Xbox, the Xbox app is now you can stream to any PC using the Xbox app. So, yeah. And also, you can also use your Xboxes, no matter what it Xbox One or Xbox Series, as dedicated Xboxes that you can play off of now. So from the app, like that is now a thing. So it's not a no. And Phil Spencer said he's very supportive of the Steam Deck as he's talked about in the past. So, you know, this thing could be a pretty good Switch killer. Like, I mean, if it's pushing out good graphics and fast load times with that M.2 slot and with the NVMe SSDs, then I mean, that's a pretty hard thing for Nintendo to fight. Other than the exclusives, I'm give them that.
Yeah,
I'll give them that. But I don't know. What are you thinking now that you've kind of seen what's in the inside and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, I don't think it's a true competitor for the Switch, only because like people who are buying the Switch are buying it to play Nintendo games. They aren't like buying it to go play Doom on the Switch. You know what I mean? It's not something that's gonna take over your main rig. It's gonna be your alternate rig. So, like where the Switch is like, I mean, that's their mainline thing. I mean, you're gonna have to get all their exclusives on it. You're not gonna get exclusives on that Steam Deck. I mean, Steam doesn't. You can get everything that's gonna be on there on PC. So it's kind of like that whole thing with like Xbox. Like people aren't buying the new Xbox. They're not worrying about the new Xbox because you can get all their games on PC now. So it's kind of the same situation with this. I feel like the market for this is going to be less than the market for the Switch. Even though it is going to definitely easily be more powerful than the Switch, because the Switch isn't a very powerful, very powerful console at all. It's actually behind in technology compared to everything else. Even though it is hybrid and it should be less than like say an Xbox or a PlayStation, because it is like a mobile and it has to be docked to perform at its best, it's still quite behind. But even so, I mean, you're not marketing to the same people really. So I don't see it as a competition. I don't think Nintendo has to worry about it. I wish they would worry about it so that way they make better hardware, but you know, Nintendo.
Yeah, they do talk about how like you couldn't get it off the shelf. Like you can't buy this stuff off the shelf of the hard drives. And then but you can use the micro SDs. So they said you can use the micro SD slot if you're choosing to expand. This is what we would suggest that you use. But I'm looking at the specs here. It says that it will have 60 hertz, so games should be running at 60 frames a second. It'll be a 7-inch diagonal with 1200 by 800 pixel screen, which would be, I believe, better than the Switch at that point. Because I don't think, or is the Switch a 1080p screen? It's not 1080p. Right?
It says it does 1080 in the settings, but I don't know if it's a true 1080. Just because of like the way the screen is. I don't know what the resolution and size is.
I'm trying to look up the specs here. It says, it's 1280 by 720.
Yeah. So wow, they lied.
Yeah, and that's
upscales to
1080. By the way, that is the OLED. That's the newest model. It's the newest model that I'm telling you on that. But it does output at 1080p when docked. So there's that.
Okay, that's all right.
But let's see here. Is this a Switch still? It is. I'm trying to look up the docked specs for the Steam Deck as well, but I am not finding them quickly. So we're gonna we'll let them pass on that one because they're from two different websites. So, but yes, yeah, that's I don't know. I mean, both of them use USB Type-C. So thank God for that.
Yeah.
Let's see. They talk about battery. So about 2 to 8 hours of gameplay. So it has a 40-watt battery, whereas the okay, I don't know what milliamps to watts are, so I'm not going to go into that because both websites use different measurements. Okay, well, there you go. So, yeah, 2 to 8 hours of gameplay, which I would say is roughly about what the Switch can do, too, when it's not docked.
It's not bad, because, I mean, where are you going to be 2 to 8 hours at a time?
Yeah.
You know, where you're actually able to play it. I mean, you're
probably... Unless you're on an airplane. That's about it.
Yeah, but I mean, most flights, I mean, they're going to be like 6 hours at the most. I mean, if you're going across the country in the U.S. anyway.
Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. So, yeah, it's a cool device. We'll see where it goes. I'm not sure where, but don't open up your Steam Decks. Let a professional do it, unless you want a nice toasty fire this Christmas.
Yeah, or end up in the hospital.
Yeah.
So,
all right. Any final words?
Nope.
All right, we're moving on.
He gets a Happy Meal, cheeseburger, small fry, I think chicken nuggets, and an Orange Crush when they had Orange Crush.
Oh man.
And he would dump them all in a blender and then blend it up, and it just looked like this brown sludge.
Whoa.
And every